am honored to be back. It is so nice to be here with you all live. I'm also recording this so that the people who cannot make it live will be able to join us. My name is Hope Akasha. I know you all know this already, but I am very excited to be kind of kicking back off a rebirthing of sorts with Akasha Yoga Institute about to launch on Saturday, and really truly feeling so affirmed in myself these days and very grounded. And I'm just really excited that when I get to that point in myself where I feel that groundedness again, that I want to share, and I want to I really want to that's my desire always. I live through desire. And if you've been part of my emailing journey the last 5 days, bless you. That's how you're here, because you got the email. But I'm really here to live the sincerity through integrity, by showing up and by sharing even when it's hard. And after processing for this last month, it feels, again, just like such an honor and such a blessing to really get to start off with the dreams. And I want to bring you back for quite a moment. Maybe you even place your hand over your heart or your head and you think back to what were you doing, what was happening in February 23rd. This was when the new moon was in Pisces. And this was right before so much shifted in our world, and our desires shifted, and our lifestyle shifted, and our dreams shifted. So for these last 6 months, because you always have to think of a new moon cycle will be completed during, it completes itself during a full moon cycle. So we're in a completion cycle right now in Virgo season. And it's really asking us, where are we foregoing some of the status quo maybe, to live more in alignment with our truth, right? This is on a personal level for all of us. And for Pisces, right, we want to remember that Pisces is all about tying up loose ends, because it's the 12th zodiac sign anyways. So it is like the master transitioner, okay? It's the master. And as we step into mastery, we have to remember that Pisces is only a mastery of transitions because it gives itself, hopefully, the time and space to dream. To dream. To dream the dream. Whatever the dream is. And the dream consistently changes. That's the beauty of being a mutable sign. And as the sun is in mutable Virgo, it's asking us to dream so that we can literally reach up with our hands and pull it down from the fucking sky. All right? Like, I know that sounds absolutely nuts, but if we're not dreaming, if we're not receiving, because dreaming is water, if we're not kind of laying back and letting the river, or, the lazy river, maybe it's a lazy river, not a rapid river right now, but take us. Let the dreams take us. And that's really going to be the essence of our practice tonight, is really inviting ourselves to be in that sensuality that earth and water truly give us. The power to dream, the power to manifest. What were we planting seeds of back in February, end of February, before the world shifted? How have those desires and dreams changed? Have they changed for the better? Are you living more truly in alignment with who you feel like you're purposefully brought onto this planet to be? We're fortifying the skills and the practice tonight to rest. This is a life skill, to rest. And in the first song of the playlist called 10 Laws, this is something that I have been, as a Mercury and Taurus, listening to on repeat, ingraining it into my brain, using it as a mantra. But I'm going to tell you the 10 laws just in case you aren't going to be listening along. Always see the dangers first. Always protect your feet. Pisces is ruled by the feet, by the way. Always be ready for cold. Always be ready for heat. Always manage to have the skills necessary. Virgo, skills. Always know where a good water resource is. Cheers to hydration. We should all take a sip. Always get the job done. Very earthy. Always know your place. Air. Always dislaw foolishness. Fire. Always rest whenever you can. Rest allows us to maximize our desires. I've done a lot of resting in this last month, very purposeful resting. It felt selfish, but it also felt so real. And that's what happens when we pull our dreams out of the illusions that they're in, way up there, right? Your dreams become better, clearer, and exactly what you wanted because you've manifested them in the present. And it's like this beautiful balance, as the fish teaches us, right? To go with the flow, to go where the tide takes us. That sometimes it's not about pushing up against the current. Sometimes it's about letting the current take you, right? So as we go into our dream space today, and we're gonna move between some yin and some restorative postures, and you, my friends, I invite you to support yourself as much or as little as you'd like, physically with your own body, it's very earthy, or using the props, right, as your earth. I'm actually on my moon cycle, so you might see me demo some things and then rest, all right? So just take it as you want to. Let your dreams speak to you. This is the practice to open yourself up to these dreams. We're gonna make a splash, quite literally, but the moon is technically full around 1:30 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday morning. So this is a preemptive full moon practice, hooray. Be kind to yourself. There's no room for the meanness to yourself. So please be kind. Dance, this is a good one. Pisces, dancing. It's a water sign, likes to move. And I mean that on your mat too, like if any poses you kind of need to, you feel that desire to shift a little bit, loosen up the yin breaks or the yin stillness. Engage with beauty. So if you have a candle, if you have something that you want to look at, that you can engage with, even over the course of this full moon cycle, maybe you, again, tie up the loose ends. This is very pertinent for this particular moon cycle, I will say, just with the astrology. And nest. So we've already been at home for quite some time, most of us, right? But nesting and making your space really yours allows for greater dreams, allows for you to really ground into your purpose. And yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and start finding a tall seat. So if you want to get yourself up onto a prop, you're welcome to. Maybe a block or maybe a pillow of some kind. And let your hands come to your knees and just let your neck roll around a few times. You can keep your eyes open if that feels more comfortable right now. And maybe you puff up your chest and feel your spine take a little bit of a cat-cow. Maybe not just movement, but maybe you pair it with a little bit of breath. Just opening up the thoracic spine. You can take it around in some circles or some crescent moons, getting around the sides of the rib cage. And feel free to, again, let the head go. Reaffirm whatever is down on the ground or feeling the floor, whether that's your feet or your thighs, your buttocks, to really press gently down into the floor to feel the spine rise up through you. A couple more breaths here. Again, channel a little bit of that dancing fluidity. You're not called to do it perfectly, which sometimes can be the call of Virgo, right? That call to perfection. But that is false solidity. And that is something that we are going to actively be practicing, letting go of false solidity in this practice, which includes thoughts and emotions and really truly just movements of energy. All right, as you're ready, go ahead and find a tall seat. Bring your hands together. Maybe find a little friction between your palms, maybe create a gentle bit of heat here. And then pressing the palms together, feel the elbows lift, feel your thumbs draw into your sternum, maybe the heart beating behind your thumbs. Let all of your fingers be activated here as the crown of your head lifts and it draws the chin slightly in, lifting the throat. Inhale and exhale. Allow your gaze to float to the third eye center. Looking up and in, as you slowly look down, we're actually going to begin to look through the chin. So while you did look up and in, now imagine that there is an eye that goes directly through the chin, and this is the eye of the moon. And in a moment after we tune in, we will begin with a bit of pranayama, with the Chandra Namaskar, which invokes the moon, invokes the yin, invokes the divine feminine. We'll begin by chanting Om Namo Gurudev Namo 3 times. I bow to the divine consciousness within. Following, after we hold and gently retain our breath for a moment, looking through either the third eye or the chin, we'll anchor in protection. You're welcome to join with me, or you're welcome to simply listen, whatever you feel called to. But we'll begin inhaling here. Release fully. Twice more like that. Fill up, let the chest expand, exhale. Inhale once more. Exhale. Inhaling to tune in. Retain the breath. Let the gaze float to the third eye. Draw the Mulabandha, the navel point, and the root chakra point, lifting up and in. Feel the jaw gently relax, holding the breath, feeling yourself expand and squeeze the spine gently. Exhale. Inhale. Adgure Name, Jugar Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Adgure Name, Jugar Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Adgure Name, Jugar Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Inhale. Hold, lift. Gently draw the navel back. If you are on your moon cycle, you do not have to lift the pelvic floor up as high. Exhale. Let your hands float comfortably into your lap for just a moment and feel that vibration, that pulse of connecting to each other, connecting beyond yourself into this pulse that we now share, this vibration, this intention. There is an intention for yourself, for this practice, for this dreamscape that you'd like to uphold. Now is the time to set it for yourself. Breathing here while we hold this vibration at the beginning of this practice, honoring why we each individually came, but also why we came to show up together in community. Taking one more breath here. Exhale. As you're ready, let's go ahead and you can gently blink your eyes open. If you want to go ahead and press play on the playlist, now is the time. And we'll start with 10 laws. We're going to start in hero pose, Virasana. So coming to your knees for a moment here. If you want to take cat-cow, you're welcome to. If you want to, just stretch your legs back, coming onto hands and knees and just taking one foot back at a time, opening up the backs of the knees. This might feel really lovely if you've been, sitting and in the same position. Letting yourself open up the feet gently here. Again, it is Pisces moon, so let yourself tuck the toes or press back to the feet. Again, we're opening up the ankles a little bit if you want to roll an ankle. You can do anything you want with your head, shifting, feeling a little dance, a little bit of a flow, rhythm. Opening up by turning the ankles or the heels from side to side. And then pressing back a couple of times, experiment with the knees being a little bit wider, taking the hips back towards the heels. And if you're used to really letting your neck drop, can you actually lift the front of the throat gently and imagine that the crown of the head is what is dropping here. We want to protect our neck as we shift forward and back, and then take the knees closer and let yourself shift back and come forward a few times. Maybe you shift over the heels from side to side as you shift back and forth. And then taking your time, you can let your knees come a little bit wider. And if you decide that you want to use a prop, you're welcome to. Maybe you use a block to come back to sit on. Maybe you are sitting between the heels if you're coming towards the ground. You're welcome to sit on a pillow. Pillows are usually my favorite personally because they stuff in really well. Bolsters are great if you need them to be taller and firmer to support your hips and legs being up higher. And feel free to wiggle or shift a little bit here, allowing yourself to settle in the knees. We don't want any pain in, but maybe you're feeling some, newer, slightly discomforting sensations. Notice if it's your thoughts. Again, we are trying to let go of the false solidity, the thoughts, the emotions that love to kind of trick us into being in a specific way. And then let your shoulders shrug up towards your ears and hold them there for a moment. Notice where your arms kind of need to go if they've been really forward in your lap. Lift, lift, lift. Notice if that lifting's coming from the front of your ribs. Pardon me with my yawning here. And then just release. And then do the same thing, but think of lifting from your shoulder blades. Like you've got hooks on your shoulder blades. Kind of let yourself really pull up through the shoulder blades. It's okay if it looks a little weird. Maybe feel your arms kind of pull out slightly. And then exhale, release. Take your palms, interlace your fingers. Press the hands forward here. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Before we do our pranayama, we're just opening up the rib cage a little bit. Move a little bit side to side. Doesn't have to be big or small. It just needs to be yours. Same with your dreams. Big dreams, little dreams, they don't have to outweigh or compete with each other. As you're ready, let yourself bring your arms down. Whatever hand is going to feel most comfortable for you. For the Shandana Namaskar, we're going to I use my right hand to block off my thumb. Some people like to I've literally seen someone the other day using their forefinger. It was strange, but it's possible. But you can block off your thumb with your right nostril. Inhale, you're going to let the breath come up and through your left nostril. And then exhale, just release your thumb or whatever finger you're using from your right nostril and plug the left nostril. You're going to inhale and inhale back through the left nostril. Apologies, can't get this out. Exhale, switch, but release out the right nostril. We're not going to breathe up through the right side. We're activating the feminine, the yin, the left side of the body, the moon side. Inhale here. We're calling on the power of this full moon, and we're doing that through our breath. Inhaling here. Exhaling. The tongue is relaxed in the mouth. Notice if there is any natural blockages, that's okay. Notice just how much air can come through. You don't have to necessarily push it or force it. When we breathe, our nasal passageways actually have a beautiful way of opening up as we stay with it. As you breathe here, remembering these 10 laws, and perhaps you're listening to them now, but always see the dangers first. Our breath, our breathing, the way that we take in stimuli, very important so that we can sense this danger first. So let's breathe here, let's open up the nose, the lungs. Let's clear the air so that we can see the dreams that we're trying to bring into our reality. Always protect your feet. Whether it's in this particular posture, if you need to lift yourself up, or if it's just every day promising yourself to move your feet, to keep what walks this beautiful earth connected, open, balanced. Always be ready for cold. Something about the first day of September is like an initiation into fall. Remembering that even though we're still at the peak of summer, the promise of coolness is right around the corner. How are we preparing for the cold, for the dark? Always be ready for heat. The lesson of the fire. How do we stay warm from our own inner furnace, from our own inner light? So that we do not feel burned by the light of others, but instead inspired to shine ours just as brightly. Take just a few more breaths here. And the next time that you release out of your right side, release your hand down into your lap. Pause with all your breath out. And then inhale, take breath back in through both nostrils. Exhale. Inhale fully. Hold the breath at the top. Look through the chin. No big need to really draw the navel back or up, but just allow your gaze to look through your chin, to look through and down into your pelvic bowl. To not only see, but to sense your legs in your pelvis. And take one more inhale here. As you exhale slowly, you can let yourself start to come forward. Take your time, depending on just how awake your legs are. Could feel more fragile or not. And remove any props that may have been underneath of you and just set them off to the side. And allow yourself to maybe lift up and back into down dog. This can feel really nice after finding that pose, but you can also just step the feet back one at a time like we did previous. Opening up the feet here, let your head release. Give a little bit of weight into the fingertips so that you're activating the hands just like your feet. Energy is still lifting to the pelvic points, but just giving some relief to the backs of the legs. As you're ready, go ahead and make your way down onto your knees. And then we're going to move towards a supported fish. So in supported fish, we can take either 2 blocks or you can take a bolster and a block. And I'm going to show you a few options. I'm going to start with the bolster just because it's a little bit firmer. You're welcome to use a pillow or a couple of pillows because the pillows are typically a little softer, so the chest opening is not as demanding. With the bolsters, you get a little bit more of the demand to open up through the chest, and really what we're opening to here is the stomach and the spleen, and this is what we're targeting tonight, just so you know. So head is coming down onto the block. Maybe you have a book or something, you've gotten creative. Feel free to adjust the pelvis. Now, this bolster, while it is firm and it's opening up a broader portion of my chest, and you can again adjust the block that's underneath of your head. If you would prefer, please use your discernment. This is again one of the skills, one of the 10 laws. Always manage to have the skills necessary. It's a beautiful thing Virgo season teaches us. is that we are very skillful, and we can be very curious in how we analyze, in how we sense things, because we know that earth signs really want to ground their knowledge. We're grounding all the information that we gathered from Gemini season, that we felt in our emotional body in Cancer season, that we took into our hearts in Leo season, and now that we are dispersing our skills in Virgo season, working on our health. Noticing here, if you are using the block, if you prefer to use the block vertically, aligning it with your spine, or if you would prefer, you are always welcome to turn it and have it go across the shoulder blades, or even slightly below the shoulder blades. And giving yourself permission to have curiosity can give you a lot of freedom as we practice letting go of this false solidity. Any thoughts or emotions or energy blocks that you really just want to escape. You want a way out. And one way to let them out is to just be here and notice what comes through. It's simple and yet so hard so often. For giving ourselves this time and permission to rest gives us also an opportunity to face what could potentially be painful. And that's when we remember that that is partially our illusion. We don't know until we're here applying all of the skills, the love, the compassion, to be with the person that we're becoming. As you lay here opening the belly, inviting yourself to digest all that has come through, from your head to your throat, to your chest and lungs, to your heart. Notice if at any point of your opening you desire to change the opening in the head or the neck. Experimenting with the levels of the block or the level setting underneath of your chest, the positioning of the block or the bolster underneath of your chest, and the corresponding angle of your pelvis in relation to your chest and head and neck coming up and over. And as I mentioned, you're welcome to take this with as much intensity, meeting yourself at an edge, or with as much gentleness and softness, to invite you to really ascend up into that dreamy, airy, watery, Piscean nature. Allow the posture to ground you. Notice your breath. Allow the breath to inspire the belly, the stomach, to expand, to breathe space into a place that is so often asked to constrict itself. Looking through the chin, you gaze lovingly down at this space that processes. It is from our gut that we work and move from instinct. And so may the breath, the prana, move our life force into this place, to burn through any shame, to let go of any false solidity, any false mindset, any emotion that is no longer serving and that at some point may have to protect you, to keep you safe, to avoid pain. Can we invite ourselves to drop in so fully that our dreams don't look so far away? Our awareness begins to bleed into the future. The vision that we see for ourselves, for our communities, for our whole worlds become magnetized and magnified. Water and earth shape our rivers, our beaches, notice how the water is moving through you, how it laps over your sides, how the earth of your bones structures and holds the container, the skin encasing this Aquarius, truly aquarium-like. Physical being. Connect for these last few moments with your heart and potentially your throat if your head is coming all the way back. This is please done very safely, and we have had a fair amount of time to get here. Adjusting the props again as necessary for the upper back and neck to feel safe, and the pelvis, allowing yourself to breathe. Open, to dream. As much as we go out and look up, there's also time to close our eyes and go in. They feed each other. The sun, the moon, the manifesting, the dreaming. you visualize what your life may feel like or look like when you stop fighting the flow of your life. And when you zoom out wide enough to see how everyone's life flows in and out of each other's, and the choices that we make to protect our heart, let's take 5 more breaths wherever you are. And if you have your head back, just hold tight. We'll bring it up slowly but surely. If it feels safer, if your head is back, to simply roll your head over to one side. Let your arm come with you, because by golly, I swear if you try to keep your arm with you, you're going to hurt your neck. Bend your knees. If your head is down and you want to place the block back under, just tuck your chin, press your feet into the floor. Maybe you cross your arms over your chest, giving yourself a little break from that big old chest opening. I hope that feels whatever it feels like. I won't put words in your head. I won't give you any false solidity. There you go. Coming on up and over for a moment, but staying low to the floor. So take your time. You're going to come onto your elbows for just a second. You can move whatever props you had just out of the way. Knees are down under hips. Let your head go. Your fingers can be together if you want to. Maybe your hands are lightly interlaced. Palms can be separate. Just give your heavy head a chance to release. Elbows are under shoulders. You can let your shoulders slide up your back a little bit. Really feeling the neck try to give way. Breathe into the space between your sternum and your spine. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here, and really just trying to let your head go. If your pelvis is too far back and it's pulling your head back behind your elbows or your shoulders, let yourself just slide forward a little bit. And then turn your head if it feels safe. Left, right, left, right. And then bring ear over to each shoulder. This is so nice doing this when you're in gravity because traction. So feel like your neck is just gently traction. Soften your jaw. There's no need to clench your teeth together right now. And then if it feels okay, let yourself look forward, lifting your eyebrows a little bit, kind of looking like, what's up over there? If your pelvis starts to arch, that's fine too. Just notice. Maybe you hold it steady in one position, or you let yourself pass through a little cat-cow. And then we're going to compress the belly a little bit. So we're going to come into child's pose. Here is where you may decide to employ those pillows, those bolsters. Feel free to take some circles, depending on how wide you want your knees to be. Wide-legged child's pose really activates all the meridians, but it's all done within means. Pushing past our means doesn't actually develop the skill set that we need, because then we have to go back and wait to develop the skills further, because we pushed past what we are capable of. So what is your heart capable of today? What is your body capable of today? Give yourself time and opportunity to settle in. If your pelvis needs to be a little lower, you're always welcome to elevate your props. placing anything like blocks underneath, letting your elbows or your forearms settle, kind of playing around, walking your arms in or out until you feel like you can really let them go. Inhale here and exhale here. Give yourself permission to change, to shift. If at any time you feel called to grab water, you're welcome to. Sending breath into your lower back, looking through your chin, looking up and in, and then through the chin, I should say. If your head is turned to one side, making sure that you haven't pulled your head forward, but that the skull, while turned, has not realigned the neck. There is a deep humility to child's pose. And the 10 laws, one of them says, always know your place. Humility is a beautiful way to know our place, to stay curious, to stay learning and invested in our development, in our awareness of self, and therefore of others. The byproduct to becoming more self-aware is that you also become so much more highly aware of those around you. And there's not a hierarchy of places, much like there's not a hierarchy of dreams. But there is a connection, a knowing of when it's our time to listen and when it's our time to speak, when it's our time to lead and when it's our time to receive and sit back and hold space. When it's time to guide and when it's time to be guided, when it's time to dream and when it's time to manifest on those dreams. Breathing here. Allow your heart to rest here, supported from your feet, through your legs, through the roots of yourself, remembering that your dreams are supported. Breathe into your back body, the divinely feminine side of the body, where Prana Shakti will rise and dance. An invitation to trust the unconscious. We rest whenever we can so that we may maximize our desires. And our desires do not have to be foolish desires. They can be desires of a bright and brilliant truthful and discerning and compassionate they can be visions of abundance, not just for you, but for all. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. Breathing into the lower belly, the lower back, softening as you inhale into the pelvic floor. Beautiful. Taking one more breath wherever you are. And similar to hero pose, you may feel a bit of fragility as you come up, just having been in the shape in whatever degree of intensity or support you are really taking it for yourself. And as you come up here, if you do have props, I actually invite you to let yourself kind of bring your belly or your hips forward onto them. I personally it feels so good to let yourself kind of roll forward, maybe opening up the backs of the knees. Ooh, releasing any yawns. Any forms of release are very welcome during full moons, whether it be tears or laughter or whatever it is. We're going to use a pillow or a bolster now to turn it, and we're going to open up the rib cage. So we're going to bring the right side of the hips down. You may decide to have your other pillow, if you have a secondary pillow, ready for your head, depending on how much head and neck opening you want. One thing I'll say about coming down over these pillows and the bolsters is that people tend to slide their backs back and they turn towards the bolster, which is fine. You can still do more of a belly down thing if you want to here, but we're really aiming to bring the rib cage forward slightly. So as you come down, you feel like the ribs are actually supported underneath of you rather than way back behind you, because there is going to be an opportunity to open, and if your ribs are way back underneath of you, the moment you turn to twist, it doesn't feel like it's coming from a place of alignment. It feels it can really tweak the lower back, and I want you to be able to feel like you can adjust where you want your knees if you want to split your legs. But a great starting place is simply to just come over onto your side. Maybe draw the knees in. Notice if it feels good to lift your arm overhead. Maybe to bring it, support it on your pillow or your bolster. Another great place to place a bolster or a pillow is just between the knees. A little more comforting here, especially if you're on your moon cycle, just giving some space between the legs, opening in the pelvis. And checking in with your chin, your jaw, your head and neck. As you really allow yourself to settle, inviting the ribs to release. If you're using a softer pillow, sometimes the subtleness of something softer, and it doesn't even have to push your ribs up that high, allowing your breath to do the work, to allow the opening, the connective tissue to find the space in the matrix between all of the webs that have been weaved through your movement and your patterns. And the subtleness of these practices is where we really begin to fine-tune some of the body awareness that we gather in the bigger movements, in the HIIT classes, or the quicker, more active yogas, Pilates, running, dancing, active sports. And then when we get down onto the ground and we use simple tools, we remember that we do have the skills and we can get the job done. And we always have the capacity to. It is just our fears or something that someone else or that we told ourselves or we heard somewhere in some program that stops us from opening our heart, from maybe taking that step or that leap of faith. That's okay. We have to learn these lessons. But it's in the awareness as we start to come back down to the ground that we actually reconnect to the purpose, to the dream, to the why. Rest makes us remember how much we matter. How brilliant and how powerful we are. In all of our fine-tuned subtleties. If you haven't, you're always welcome to roll yourself open. You may keep yourself on a pillow. You may feel yourself opening up and back. Feel free to do anything with the legs that might help to support the opening in the belly, spleen. And know that if you go too far, you can always scale it back. Sometimes the intensity leading up to the full moon is enough that we just want to receive that beautiful light. We just want to step on the stage. And so if you need something to be more restorative in nature, yin or meeting yourself in a deeper edge can be very useful, can facilitate great change. It's really just about what you need right now. And by change, I mean change in the tissues in particular. We'll take about 4 more breaths here. Remembering that as you practice to be releasing any holdings in the jaw, if you find yourself clenching or holding, in a particular area, once you notice it, you don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to question yourself why you were holding it. You just get to say, I now notice that, and I can release it. Isn't that interesting? And carry on with your dreams. Notice, integrate, release. It's almost like our breath, if not just like our breath. As you're ready, if you have been rolled open, begin to bring that left arm and left side back. You can slide the legs closer together. Maybe at this point, if you want to slip the prop out so that your legs can come together, just take a moment, maybe slide the rib cage back a little bit. And then slowly, as you're ready, we're going to keep the left knee on top. Just press yourself up onto your elbow. Go ahead and slide your right leg straight for a moment. We're just going to get a little hip stretch coming here. So as you sit up, and this is going to depend on just each person, you may adjust your left leg. Right hand is down on the floor. Should move my pillows here. Right hand can be down on the floor. If this is too much on the hips, that's okay. You can stay down towards the elbow. Right? You can be moving the head and the neck here. But if you're up on the fingers or up on the hand, you can lean, if you want to, over towards the left. And you can adjust your left leg. It can be closer down towards the knee. You can adjust where this right leg is, if it's farther forward or farther back. And just kind of move over into this right side. If you're farther forward here, you can be farther forward. Your hand can be farther forward. Just play around. You're at your house, right? So exploring is welcome. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. As you're ready, we're going to go ahead and come back down towards the elbow. Let the knees start to bend, and then as you come up, just shift onto your seat and let your legs kick out in front of you for a moment. You can look at your feet if you want to here. Maybe you imagine that your feet are moving through some water. And then as you're ready, we're going to come forward into caterpillar for 2 minutes. We're not going to be here for very long. So this is a gentle seated forward fold. I'm going to make this restorative for me personally. And if you need to get yourself up onto something, you're welcome to sit up on one of your pillows. If you want to bring bolsters or something in between your legs and even angled, just so that you can support your chest. This does not have to be a very deep forward fold. Just inviting the tissues along the backside of the body to gently expand and to create a gentle compression in the stomach, and feel that just gentle constriction. Many ways to set yourself up if you have blocks. I love to use pillows or a prop on my thighs, and I like the gentle pressure on the leg bones. Something about the femur bones really enjoys a subtle bit of pressure. If it's uncomfortable on your knees, you're welcome to support your knees with a blanket or a small pillow. Release your jaw. Notice if your neck is dropping, and if you can, again, just keep the chin tucked so that the front of the throat is not pushing down. Noticing the subtleties and the difference between both sides. Take about 5 more breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Slowly, as you're ready, beginning to let yourself come up, and then we'll let ourselves, move to the other side. So if you need to here, go ahead and shift your prop, bringing it back. And we're going to come down onto the left side. And I actually, before we come down, I want to mention that we're purposefully going to be resting on the left side as a resting pose. So while after you've rested on the side with the chest supported, if you want to slip out the bolster or the pillow and simply rest on your left side or roll onto your back for Shavasana, we'll move into it just naturally. So I'm going to encourage you to have your blanket or have anything that you need to pull over you, knowing that this left side that we're resting on, this feminine side, is so that we can really let go of anything that is not falsely, or that is falsely being held within us. That is no longer needing to, that can kind of come up and be released with all these skills that we've built, with all these connections that we've made over these previous seasons. We now get to be like the queenly Virgo, pure in thought and form and idea, and pure in those thoughts and forms in the manifestation of the dream, because we have spent time dreaming. Because we have spent time with ourself, with our multiple selves. It is in the evolution of the self through Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and now Virgo. It is in this evolution of self that we perfect the skills, Virgo, and we disperse them into the collective. Our purpose is very necessary, each and every one of ours. Having the courage to dream and execute our dreams is no longer going to feel impossible. It will simply require faith and trust that moving forward beyond this full moon portal, that you are now waking up and tapped into your supernatural abilities to connect to yourself, to those who you really want to call into your life, to allow that flow to move as it needs to. For your rivers and your shores to have room to grow and shapeshift, just like your dreams. So that we no longer chase perfection, but we chase our ability to be in our integrity and with our sincerity as we execute on the dreams that we share, that we shine light on. If at any point you feel called to open up, to remove any props that may be underneath of you so that you may slide down onto your back. Now may be that time. As you rest here in this place of receiving, noticing the water as it moves through you. Tapping into water means that we become aware that release is an action. And so as we release the dam, as we open the gates for water to flow, for the tide to not try to be stopped, embrace a divine part of ourselves that is meant to dance, to weave, to flow. Not to say that fire and air have no room at the table. But that for us to manifest and bring into reality, physical reality, our dreams, we must tap into our intuitive nature. It is our birthright to dream, to vision, and to consecrate those dreams. You're welcome to remain here for as long as you'd like. For those who are feeling called to rejoin the present, you're welcome to begin to stir and to shift, knowing that truly our dreams are not that far away, that we will meet the full moon in a few hours behind closed eyes, perhaps. Letting yourself stretch and reach. Maybe as you take yourself from side to side or bring yourself up, you can extend that bottom leg, your left leg now, the same way that you did on the other side, opening up the left side of the body, planting that left hand, leaning into the left side of the rib cage, and taking all the time that you need to cross your legs as you sit up tall. If you're meeting us in your seat, you're welcome to remain on your back. Closing the practice as we started bringing the palms together, sealing our intention. As you press the palms together and the thumbs come back into the sternum, gazing up and in and down through the chin. May the long time sun shine upon you. May all love surround you. And may the pure light within you guide your way on. Or, as Ellie likes to say, guide your way home. Feeling the home that you've created within yourself, within this time to rest, within this time to receive. And we'll close the practice with the sound Sat Nam. Your truth is an identity. May we never forget it, and may we embrace it so that we may embrace others in their in their highest truth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale it. Thank you, thank you. Sat Nam. Ooh, I went over time. I realized I didn't have a clock, and I was like, how Pisces of me to not have a clock.